influx of dancers were because the A&R people were knowing that the artists needed the help. I mean, that was really, really, truth be told. You know, some of the artists just didn't have enough energy, and the A&R were very, very brilliant in incorporating dancers into the mix, because we really are the hype men and women to the artists. And that's a very, very important thing. It's all about energy. At the end of the day, you're selling the hype, the energy behind the artist, behind the music, behind the beats. And so their hip hop would not be as exciting without the dancers, period.
In the early 90s, dancing was a humongous part of the entire culture.
You had the strength from the East Coast and the West Coast. The South slowly started coming up, like in the mid-90s, coming up with their style. Atlanta was popping. They came with some real footwork, leg work, you know, they had a swag to it.
Oh my God. The 90s, they were super funky. I'm a TLC fan, you know, from Atlanta, and they was putting on for Atlanta. Shout out to Devon Stevens, who was choreographing and doing all this stuff for them, but they really made me feel seen. Like there was a voice out there from Atlanta. We did a style called ATL Crank, Atlanta Crank. They were the ones putting on for the city then.
And I remember TLC did
Let's Dance.
Dance, Too Much Booty in the Pants. They did a breakdown at the VMAs one year, and I was like, oh, this shit kind of fire.
So they brought a whole different energy to their thing. Their dance was real energetic. It was real hype. They was jeeking and Bankhead bouncing and all that. It was just all fun dancing.
And then you had a shift in the music again with artists like Missy. Missy always focused on the dance with her music.
I personally feel as though Missy Elliott was in the forefront of really cultivating and pushing creative hip-hop dance forward. I mean, every video she had, she would always try something out of the box. Creatively, the funk would be different. One time she would have kids. The next time they would be doing, you know, Dutch line dancing and make it hip hop. The next time she has poppers and they're doing all this different stuff. So, you know, Missy videos were always exciting for me to watch.
Yeah, Missy Elliott represent all that flyness in Virginia. And hi-hat coming from Brooklyn and making a contribution to Missy's vision. She was that young girl in the mix, and she was getting it in. And when her and Missy came together, it was magic. In the rest of the world, we got super fly.
And then you have artists like Busta. Busta always, you know, is making music for you to dance to. And then the crossover with hip-hop and R&B. Like, I think R&B picked up where hip-hop left off with the dance. Most of the R&B acts, almost 100% of them, had dancers. And they did what they saw rappers do first. And I think that was the transition where the dance bloomed, but it bloomed from the R&B standpoint.
And then that turned into your Sierras, that turned into your Ushers.
Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play.
Atlanta was really, really ahead when it came to like the viral cultural dances from like D4L and all the Shawty Love dances, who was this? Jock, you know. I think the South in general was always ahead when it came to music, and of course music influences dance, and so all the snap music was really big back then. So the South definitely taught me how to really groove.
MC Hammer. Hammer changed the game. You know, when he came out, rappers hated him because he couldn't rap as well as everybody, but he put on the performance of life. He sold 50 million records. There's so many people that I meet, and one of the people that they always mention that brought them into the culture and made them want to dance is MC Hammer. What we were doing with the Running Man, MC Hammer took it to another level. He made that his signature thing. And he did it with so much, you know, pizzazz and energy that it became something else. It's the same step, but he made it his thing.
The hip hop started getting more commercialized once Hammer touched it. I mean, he brought it to the pop world, and he did a great job. Like, Hammer is dope. And then you start getting the Vanilla Ice, you know, the Snow artists and all them type of artists start coming, and it kind of start going into the pop world. Then you start getting your New Kids on the Block and all these artists now taking the hip hop into the masses, and it started being commercial. It started taking that lane, which was great, but that's when it started getting watered down a little bit.
Like you said, it went from the breakdancing into the hip-hop boogie. That's what we like to call it. And, you know, freestyle or whatever. And then it went from there, from the golden era to the G-Funk era. You know, it was a change of the guards. Like I said, that particular style that we might have been doing, you know, to say X-Clan or Public Enemy or something like that, that didn't fit the G-Funk style. Snoop Dogg doesn't need dancers. You know, MC Gate doesn't need dancers. So, you know, it was their time.
Even though the gangsters making the dancers start being corny or he ain't fly no more, we start showing that you can be fly and still dance, even to the gangster rap.
Everybody had their own brand. Everybody had their own style of hip-hop. Hip-hop was like a growing melting pot. They was only trying to stand out by being unique and different. That's why I think it was such a golden era back then.
The 2000s flipped hip-hop, igniting a dance revolution. Iconic rap stars rose while crumping, turfing, and juking lit up the streets and scenes. Dance battles were electric, every move a celebration. It was an era of fun, freedom, and boundary pushing, a transformative wave in hip-hop history.
The era that I consider to be the golden age is obviously 2000s, baby. 2000s, when all of the movies like You Got Served and Honey and Step Up and Stomp the Yard and Save the Last Dance, that all came out in the 2000s. And I feel like the 2000s hip-hop choreography dance really took on a new breath, took on just a new life. And I feel like that's when people really, it started to hit. It started to hit the world hard.
And then Dave Scott choreographed You Got Served, and You Got Served was like life-changing for my hip-hop company and me, and it just like inspired me so much. I had never seen like battles and any of that underground kind of world, so it was super inspirational.
Every TikTok dance is to hip-hop. Every new dance is to a hip-hop song. And the thing about it is, with the advent of social media and technology, music videos are no longer the preeminent thing for you to market music. You have these musical vignettes on TikTok, and before TikTok it was Snapchat, and before Snapchat it was Do It for the Vine, and prior to all of that, YouTube. So now you're getting sound bites with some dance step or choreography, or what the artists like to call the challenge. I mean, what would Beyonce's Cuff It song be without the Cuff It challenge, you know?
Using our social platforms is monumental and like life-changing, truly, if you use it in the right way.
That's the beauty of it. The dance, as a teaching class, the dance is what explains the music. When you have a piece of music, if you have a movement to go with it, everyone can relate. And that's why they market the music now with these dance challenges more so than with music videos. The music video will come after the challenge.
TikTok dances and viral dance challenges are blowing up music and making songs successful. So that really speaks to how important dance and dance culture is.
I think the next 50 for dance and hip hop is a viable, marketable place for us. I think we've revolutionized the impact on TikTok and in popular culture. And now I understand that we will be able to empower ourselves as far as producing the next level of what that looks like creatively. And so I'm excited to take hip-hop dance to a place where the value of it will be recognized. And we could survive off of it for, I think, the first time in a long time and have a sustainability and continue to evolve it for another 100 years.